Now, I have really struggled with making this video. Struggled from the point of view of every time I sit down and try to record this, my mind changes a little bit. And it's taken me almost 2 weeks to kind of get to a place where I'm okay. I think I have what my opinion is. I've really been working on what my opinion on this thing is, which is, of course, you're seeing it on the screen. Starfield. Is Starfield a danger to Star Citizen? No, it isn't. Now, I think the easiest kind of comparison is, Starfield is a single player game. Star Citizen is a multiplayer game. So they're two different things. So why would they hurt each other? Now, one of the most intriguing features I found about Starfield, of course, was ship customization, being able to kind of build, configure, and define certainly the functionality of your ship. Obviously, a feature that you can't really import into Star Citizen because being able to build a ship to do anything would defeat CIG's main money-making gambit, which is, selling us ships. For those who are still out there buying ships, I think there's quite a few of us who have kind of gone into the camp of, I think I've done enough for you. It's time for you to do for me, right? And I'm not talking about weekly update vids. I'm talking about an actual game. The Star Citizen's business development to a lot of us has become kind of almost the business of Star Citizen rather than making a game, and that has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Now, you could certainly say that Starfield kind of scratches a few similar itches to Star Citizen, and it could provide a much needed distraction when you look at Star Citizen's very, very slow development. And it could potentially be a distraction for a lot of people for a lot of time. If Bethesda, well, you know what? Bethesda historically has done very well with their games. Now, of course, everyone will remember Fallout 76 right away and the multitude of errors that they've made on other games, but they've always kind of turned out to be at least fairly decent to amazing in the end when the fixes come in. And that's why Bethesda has, a library of very well-known games. Even if you don't play them, you've heard of them. You've heard of Skyrim. You've heard of Fallout. So I don't really think that the danger really comes from Starfield or the Dune survival game or the next expansion to this game, that game, or the other game, or whatever project whoever is working on. None of these things really represent truly a danger to Star Citizen. Once a game kind of reaches a certain momentum, once it reaches a certain size, once it has a certain amount of money behind it, the only real danger to that game at that point is itself, is its own development team. That really is the only danger at this point to Star Citizen. There are things that we simply don't have answers to yet, like server meshing. Everyone's like, "Oh, they're working on it. They're working on it." Yeah, well, they've been working on it for a long time. A lot of the foundational tech that is supposed to be the supporting structure that makes this game work simply doesn't exist and hasn't existed for a long time. And arguably, when people say that Star Citizen isn't really a game, it's more of a tech demo, it's a lot more true than you think, because the core basic functioning of the universe that allows a dynamic economy that we hear them talk about when they talk about quantum, and when we think about server meshing and the ability to truly populate this universe with players and NPCs, because the server right now, you walk through a city, you realize the server can't really handle the NPCs too well either. And if it's supposed to be a 90-10 split, 10% being players and 90% being NPCs, you can start to see how this how this could have a very negative impact on the game's development should they not be able to make these things a reality. that really is the danger, because if they can't deliver that, and once again, it's game development, not game construction, so they don't really know what the answer to that question is. That's the unfortunate other side of that argument, which is meaning you don't really know what your destination is. You're kind of fumbling around trying to get to what you want to achieve, but you might have to settle for what you only can achieve and not what you want. So that really is the biggest danger to Star Citizen, should they not be able to achieve the things that they achieve. And oftentimes when you talk to other Star Citizen backers, or sometimes even other content creators, the one thing that you'll notice is that they always act, especially when they're very much in the pro Star Citizen camp, they always act as though it's a certainty. They never acknowledge the fact that that outcome may not be a certainty. In fact, it might be much more of a struggle than they're really ready to face. Now, no really creative endeavor ever really truly reaches the heights of the creator's imagination. There was a really great line from the director Ron Howard, and I think Steven Spielberg kind of said something very similar once too, is that every movie that you make eventually breaks your heart. Like, you can't really make it into everything that you want it to be. It can't be exactly the way you picture it in your head. You have to kind of make some compromises and cut some corners. And the truth of it is that we really don't know what corners are going to be cut and what compromises are going to have to be made to make Star Citizen a reality. And that really, the reaction to that is really where, Star Citizen's life kind of hangs in the balance. I think that at this point, with the money behind it and the momentum that Star Citizen clearly just continues to have, because even if you're in that camp where you're like, nah, I'm not putting any more money in it, you look at, the sales, the big sales, the anniversary sale and Fleet Week, and you kind of go, whoa. Like, obviously there's some people who are still all in. There's a lot of momentum here, and I think really the only danger now is coming up short in development. That's really the only thing that'll kill Star Citizen. There's a lot of really, really cool games that I'm excited about on the horizon. Some on the immediate horizon, and yes, Starfield is one of them. I am excited for Starfield. I'm excited for Phantom Liberty. I'm excited for Lost Skies. I'm excited for a lot of things. But I don't think that any one of those or any combination of those really have what it takes to kill Star Citizen. The truth of it is the only thing that really is strong enough to kill Star Citizen is Star Citizen.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. YouTube,